Hello, this is Elizabeth Miguel from the Academic Support Center at Raritan Valley Community College. This is part 2 of the videos on the quadratic equation, and this is an example where our discriminant, remember the discriminant is this part that's underneath our radical portion of our equation, this b squared minus 4ac, where that is a negative number. And so we're going to have a complex solution to that, or an imaginary solution to that. But I just wanted to run through one of these examples so we get the, so we've taken a look at it and you're familiar with the format of how to work with these problems. So again, like I did before, we're going to identify our a here is equal to the coefficient for the x squared, which isn't present, so that's an implied 1. Our b is the coefficient for our x, which is -1, and our c is equal to 2. So we can go ahead and input that into this equation. Did I copy that down right? Yes. Okay. So our negative b, well, b is 1, is -1. So -1 is just going to be 1 plus or minus the square root of b squared. -1 squared is 1 minus 4 times a times 1 times c is 2. And all of this is over 2a, 2 times 1. So this is going to be x equals. Okay? So let's go ahead and simplify this. X equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 1. 4 times 1 is 4 times 2 is 8. 1 minus 8 all over 2. So x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of -7. 1 minus 8 is -7 all over 2. Now, you may say, well, -7, there's no real solutions. Absolutely correct. This is going to be one of those graphs that doesn't cross the x-axis at all. It's opening upward, so it's going to be entirely above the x-axis, and this graph will never be negative. So, but we can identify the complex solution or the imaginary solution for this problem. And so what we want to do is we want to, first of all, let's split this up into 2 parts. So this is 1 divided by 2 plus or minus the square root of -7 over 2. So we've just split this up into 2 separate fractions, which we can do. Now if you want to rewrite this -7, this -7 is equal to square root of -7 is equal to square root of -1 times the square root of 7. Well, the square root of -1 is an imaginary number, which we call I. So this can be written as 1/2 plus or minus I square root of 7 divided by 2. Okay, so even though we do not have a real solution, we can write the complex or the imaginary solution when our discriminant is less than 0. Okay, if you have any questions about the quadratic formula and its applications and how to use it, please don't hesitate to reach out. And to the Academic Support Center, we are in business with online tutoring during the COVID-19 shutdown, and we are in person at the Academic Support Center on campus when things get back to normal.